Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. It's time to continue our NFL preview series. If you've missed them, go back and watch on demand on our Betting Pros channel. Subscribe today. Help us get to 100,000 subscribers. We can do it with your help. I believe in you. But today, we have found ourselves in the South. It's hot here in New Jersey. It's humid. I might as well be in the AFC South right now. That's how I feel. And I know what you're saying. This isn't the sexiest division, but if there's two guys who can make talking about the AFC South sexy, it's the Undertaker, Andrew Erickson, and my man, Terrell Furman Jr. And we are going to talk about the AFC South, our favorite bets, the team totals, who's going to win this bad boy, and more. And don't forget, before we jump into here, this conversation with 2 feet, the Betting Pros app is out for you. You got it on iOS, got it on Android, got it everywhere. Sync your sportsbooks for free. Bet smarter, not harder. You're talking about game picks, props, parlays, you name it. In fact, I can't even say it. It's so good. That's how good the tools are. But again, we're talking about things like the pick tracker systems. We're talking about in season, the prop bet cheat sheet. All of the things that are going to help you become a more successful wagerer are here at your fingertips with the Betting Pros app. And so much work is going in to the redesign of the app and more tools to help you become successful. So there's no excuses right now. Download the Betting Pros app. Start to use tools like the pick tracker to see what's working for you, what's not, what's working for other people. And then you can just follow their picks too. Again, all of this is on the Betting Pros app. Sign up today by downloading the bad boy wherever you get your apps, or go to bettingpros.com and sync your sportsbooks for free. All right, gentlemen, let's kick things off here with what's going on since last we left this division. The Houston Texans added some wide receiver help, which they needed because Tank Dell, unfortunately, his career is in jeopardy, that's for sure. We have, of course, Stephon Diggs has moved on, and they've brought in Jaden Higgins via draft, Christian Kirk via free agency, and Jalen Knoll via draft too. They traded Laramie Tunsil, the one good offensive lineman they had. Sure, why not? Look, the offensive line hasn't been good basically since C.J. Stroud got there. So Terrell, I don't know at this point if we should be worried about it or not, because it's never been any good, and yet they've still been a pretty good team. Stroud did regress a little bit in year 2, but that was bound to happen. Sure, the offensive line was a big part of that, but they did have a fantastic win in the playoffs. So are the Houston Texans reloaded, restocked, and ready for 2025?
I mean, I would love to say a clear-cut yes, but it's really just a yes because everybody else looks like horrible. Like, you understand, that those group of people that just hang around with a bunch of people that bring them down so that they look elevated. That's what the Houston Texans look like here. They look like the pretty chick that's standing around with a bunch of 6s, maybe some 5s, and she's really only a 7.5, maybe that, but she looks like a 10. And the Texans look like a 10, even though the offensive line has so many question marks. Trent Brown, Cam Robinson coming in, but they traded Laramie Tunsil, their best offensive lineman, and now there's question marks on all 5 positions. Like, regardless if they figure it out and if C.J. Stroud is able to move on into year 3 with playing behind a bad offensive line, I really do think that the rest of the division being this bad is really the only saving grace for the Texans.
All right, I love Jaden Higgins. I like Noel, too. Jaden Noel is a nice player. I think that they did a good job of bringing in more help at wide receiver. But you need time to throw the football. That's still the thing that I'm shocked that they didn't do more this offseason to really improve the offensive line. I like the defense of the Texans. I like the head coach, Erickson. What did you make of their offseason?
Well, they fired Bobby Slowick, which I think was the right move to make. And they made an in-team hire across the offensive line. Someone that comes from Cole Popovich, coming from the New England Patriots. So I think that, or he has stems from the New England Patriots, was the assistant offensive line coach last season. So I think there's really nowhere to go else but up when it comes to the offensive line. Like you guys outlined 2 years ago, they were all injured and that's why they were bad. Last year, they stayed healthy, but there was no cohesiveness with it, so they were just bad. So yeah, if they're the worst offensive line again, well, that's been the case the last 2 seasons, and the Texans have won games and gone to the postseason and won the division. So I think that you guys kind of make the great point where this division is just really weak and they're the best team in a weak division, and the defense is still really good. So that's the thing that has I think that's kind of what helped them last year overcome the offensive issues. Now, I think that we should expect the defense to kind of maybe take a step back. They won't be as good in terms of creating turnovers, creating pressure. But at the same time, I just think that schematically, Nick Caley coming in as the offensive coordinator, coming from the Rams again, also stemming from the New England Patriots. Again, this guy's connection with Dante Scarnecchia, like the offensive line king. So I think that just, even if the personnel doesn't look great, I think that schematically it's going to be better. It's going to give Stroud some more time. Even if there's an average offensive line, I think that's going to do a lot to help them.
Yeah, look, you still got Hunter, you still got Anderson, you got pass rush there, you got Stingley, you got a lot here. CJ Gardner-Johnson there came over last year. I still think that defense, I believe in them. The Jacksonville Jaguars, another year, another head coach. That's how things go in Jacksonville usually. Liam Cohn comes over from the offensive coordinator job in Tampa, takes over for the Jacksonville Jaguars as their new head coach. They draft the two-way player Travis Hunter. They draft Bashal Tutin. Is that enough of a change to really change the stars for the Jaguars? Andrew Erickson, what'd you make of the Jags offseason?
I think it was pretty positive in terms of who they added. Adding Travis Hunter kind of fixed two team needs that they had. They needed another receiver, and they really needed a defensive back, so they got two positions with one player. So we'll see how things kind of shake out with him, especially when we get into our wild card bets when it comes to Travis Hunter. I think it's just really, you got to have some action on Travis Hunter this season in some way, some form, because he's too fun of a player to not bet on him to do something great as a true unicorn in the NFL. But I think that bringing in Liam Cohen, just like what he did with Baker Mayfield, look, Trevor Lawrence, maybe he'll never live up to what he was supposed to be coming out of Clemson as the number one overall pick, but I mean, I can't say that he's ever really been put in a situation where it was, wheels up, like this is the perfect spot for him to succeed. I think Liam Cohen showed last year with Baker Mayfield that, hey, he can put players in positions to succeed, so I would expect them to be better than they were last year.
I don't think anybody's doubting that Liam Cohen is a good offensive mind. Terrell, I'm just not sold on the fact that he's a head coach or ready for that sort of job. I'm not. I was not impressed with press conferences that he had. I wasn't impressed with some of the layouts of what his plans were for the organization. I thought it was a surprising hire, to say the least, to be honest with you, especially when you see guys like Brian Flores, floating around who have head coaching experience, great defensive background. Maybe you can, get, tighter as an organization, maybe a little bit more discipline, because discipline's kind of lacked in Jacksonville for many, many years. So what do you make of Cohen, and what do you make of the draft here? Look, Tutin's an exciting player. We know that. But Travis Hunter, can he withstand the season as a two-way player? That's the big question.
Yeah, and shout out to my guy, Tutin, former North Carolina A&C Aggie pride. Got to show a little bit of love for my alma mater there. And there's a whole defensive side of the ball that I haven't heard anybody talk about this entire offseason. And we're just going to expect the Jags to have it figured out there. Like, is there a legit plan? And I understand they took a few guys in the draft on defense and helped try to build out some depth there, but I just don't trust that they're going to be legit on the defensive side of the ball. And then if Goldilocks gets out there and starts turning the ball over crazy, I just don't know what's going to happen. Like, the wheels could fall off for Jacksonville. Jacksonville's picked near the top of the draft. It feels like every year, the past 5 seasons. I just don't know how much more they have to give. And I think they did rush the Cohen hire. I don't know. I felt like there was more due diligence that could have been done. And I'm just very, very interested to see what the changes are on the defensive side of the ball. Yes, you're a good offensive mind, but there's two sides of the ball here, and you've got to be able to play defense in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, to say the least. The Indianapolis Colts, I'm also skeptical. Man, I had high hopes for the Colts last year. This was kind of my sleeper team that I will take an L on, because I like Shane Steichen as a football mind, and I still do. I think he's been in a weird situation here with Anthony Richardson. They brought in competition in the one Daniel Jones, your old friend, from the New York Giants there, who then went to Minnesota for a short time, and now he is, I guess, competing for the number one job. If Richardson falters, if he gets hurt again, it's Daniel Jones. They drafted Tyler Warren, Charvarius Ward was brought in to help out a little bit at corner. So that's kind of the major moves. Like, Warren is a huge talent out of Penn State. I think everybody thinks he could be a great player, but you can only be as good as the guy throwing you the football. And that's been the problem here for this team the last 2 years. Who's throwing the football, how consistently, and how's that working? We know the raw athleticism of Anthony Richardson, Terrell. We know what it is. However, we haven't seen him develop into a quarterback. I don't doubt the kid's work ethic. I just doubt the amount of reps he's been able to get between college and the NFL. I kind of almost wish NFL Europe was a thing, where he could go out there and play there for, a summer and figure things out and maybe come back and get some more reps. But that's the problem. It's like you're right into the fire again with Richardson. So is he going to sink or is he going to swim this year?
This is the rock and a hard place because you're deciding between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, and you chose to make this decision to have to pick between the two. Like, you chose to put yourself in that situation. The Colts are a dumpster fire. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I have no idea what the Colts are going to do because you have to give the ball to Richardson, and you got to at least see what you have there because everybody knows what you have in Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been under different coaches, albeit he still played for the Giants. He's been under different coaches. He's been under different offensive schemes, and it has not translated. He's not good. And so if Anthony Richardson is not able to go in there and make that leap, and you at least, hey, trial by fire and play through him and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then all right, we're going to move on as a staff and figure something else out. That's going to be what the Colts are going to have to do this season. Are you going to be ready to move on enough? And I don't think they are. I think that they're going to take this, and it's going to be Richardson Jones all season, and that's going to kill the morale of this team.
Yeah, look, it's trying to figure out, like, if you're setting the table, Erickson, and you've got like this fine china and it's really elaborate and decorative, but it's super fragile, and maybe it's not big enough for all the food you want to eat on it, and you're not sure if it's going to hold up. And then there's Daniel Jones, who's the opposite of the Anthony Richardson china. It's that he is like the Dixie paper plate. Like, you kind of know what you're getting there, but that's kind of flimsy too. And you go to the cookout and you fill it up too much. Next thing you know, it's starting to flip over a little bit. It's not good. It's not
gotta get you a second one. Gotta get you a second one.
Or you got to get like the real good brand. So Dixie's like the good one. It's like the store brand paper plates at the cookout. That's kind of what I feel like you're doing with Daniel Jones. So, Erickson, who plays more games at quarterback this year for the Colts? To me, that is the question that informs your wagering decisions.
Man, that is a tough question to answer. Who's going to play more games? Because it could really depend on who stays healthiest, because both these quarterbacks have dealt with a lot of injuries throughout their NFL careers. I think it's going to be close down to a split. I think it'd be 8 for one guy and 9 for the other guy. And maybe it's 8 all in a row, and then the other guy takes the second half of the season, or it's more of a flip-flop like Terrell kind of outlined. I just think with the Colts in general, they're a team that's going through an identity crisis. Where are we trying to build Richardson up as our franchise quarterback because he's still super young, or are we trying to win games with Daniel Jones because the GM and head coach are on the hot seat? So you have these two conflicting things going at it, and that goes to the problem of having these two types of quarterbacks. Because if the Colts win with Daniel Jones at the end of the season, what are we winning? Oh, now you got to pay Daniel Jones. Like, oh, that's great. We're feeling fantastic. Versus, well, we should really get the best look we can at Richardson, and then you lose all these games. But then the coach and GM get fired. So it's really hard. And to Terrell's point about them being a dumpster fire, when I did their win-loss projections, I was not kind to the Indianapolis Colts, thinking that this could be disastrous. The one thing I will say that works in their favor, and this is something that I kind of look a little bit more deeply at, is they're probably the one team in this division that actually has a good offensive line that you can actually feel pretty confident in. So they were ranked 5th by PFF. They have 2 really good stalwart players specifically on the left side at left tackle and left guard. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if the quarterback's just feeding Jonathan Taylor and that's how they're winning games, then maybe you could see, okay, maybe they make some noise, but I think I just lean towards the latter of I think that this is going to be probably more ugly than pretty at the end of the season.
Your responses, both of you, to any question regarding the Colts, both were met with long pauses, which should tell everybody if you're wagering, you should have a long pause before you wager anything on the Colts because it's unknown, because it's tough to invest in. This is real shows about investments at the end of the day. You want to invest in the Colts, or you want to invest in the Ravens? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a question you got to ask yourself. And I don't want to invest in the Colts because I don't think there's enough value even to invest. Now, the Tennessee Titans, they're turning the keys over to the car to Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick in the draft. Alec Ayomanor also coming in there, wide receiver. They brought in Tyler Lockett this offseason. So the Titans trying to remake the offense. The Will Levis experiment hopefully is over. Look, you got Pollard, you got Tajay Spears, Erickson, you got some talent on the offensive side of the football. The defense, I think, we have some questions about where they're going to be in terms of talent level and productivity. It's still working their way into this new regime from last we left them. So what do you make of the Titans offseason and the rookie taking over a QB in Cam Ward?
Oh, I think Cam Ward's kind of exciting. I think that he can be a player that could potentially win games for the Tennessee Titans, but I think that he'd also be a player in somewhat of a Will Levis fashion, can also lose games for his teams with stupid turnovers, which we know Brian Callahan was not a fan of. I think my issue with the Titans and not being able to back first overall pick, rookie quarterback, does he have a CJ Stroud type of impact, a Jaden Daniels type of impact in year one? Again, talking about teams that go from fourth to first in their division, the Titans are one of those teams that you kind of have to at least consider because of how weak this division is overall. But it goes back to me with Brian Callahan and just how bad last year was. So do you guys remember what the Titans' record against the spread was last year for Brian Callahan?
Ooh, I think it was only 3. I think they only won 3.
They were 2-15.
Oh, it was 2.
Wow.
2-15 against the spread, including
one
of them,
which would have sent me over.
which was a win over the Patriots in overtime.
And you know what? But turnovers will kill you. And there was a ton of turnovers last year. Will Levis trying to force balls everywhere. It was no good. I mean, Terrell. Go ahead, Eric.
I guess my point is, the Titans. It was pretty clear that they were a dumpster fire last year, and that was we knew about this every single week. This team is a dumpster fire, and they still couldn't cover the spread. Like they were unable to meet ground level expectations, and they weren't able to meet those. So yes, Cam Ward is now there, but I just still don't know if Callahan has necessarily the, if he has what it takes to be an NFL head coach.
Look, Terrell, when you look at Cam Ward, I think you see a guy who could be a future starter in the NFL. There's no doubt about that. I like the kid. I think he's serious, which I really like. He's very focused, in a lot of ways, opposite personality of a Shedeur Sanders, which is, I think, why teams fell in love with Cam Ward in the process and why they fell out of love with Shedeur Sanders in the process. So, is it enough? I don't think so. I'm where Erickson is. I just think the Titans are still going to be a bottom feeder team in the NFL until further notice, because I think a lot more has to change besides just Cam Ward.
Yeah, and I think the Titans go as far as Cam Ward can take them. So if Cam Ward can adjust to the NFL really, really fast, then I think the Titans, might actually end up being a good team. But my thing is, I don't expect to see a quick adjustment, and it's just because how Cam Ward plays football. Cam Ward and Will Levis actually are more similar than people want to give them credit for, and it's just that Cam Ward is DirecTV and Will Levis is basic cable. And Cam Ward, when he makes those hero ball making decisions and he tries to put the team on his back, more often than not, he's come out on top and he's been able to get it done. But we see the moments where it's like, ooh, if you do that in the NFL, that might not be good, kid. Yeah. That's going to be a rough one. And I think that's how the start of the season is going to be. He's going to have a bunch of those turnovers that you're going to look and be like, oh, is that Will Levis? Like, they'll probably have the meme where the guy is cleaning his glasses and be like, is that Will Levis throwing that interception like that? But as the season goes on, I think Cam Ward is going to grow as a talent. We've seen him do it in college. Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami. Like, he constantly grows and grows and grows and becomes a better player. So I think the NFL may catch him in the beginning, but towards the end of the season, Cam Ward is going to have the Titans looking a lot better.
All right, before we start to look at how to make some money in this division, don't forget about NoVig. If you're looking for a smarter way to play, there's a new sports trading platform that's changing the game, and it's called NoVig. It's legal in most states, including Georgia, California, and Texas. It's peer-to-peer, which means you're competing against other users, not the house, and you can actually get better odds and lines than traditional books. You can set your own lines, which gives you control. Most sports books don't offer that sort of thing. So there's no commissions, no hidden fees. Seriously, it's just a coin deposit system, but it's real money, and you can use the code DailyJuice for 50% off of your first coin purchase up to $25. Check it out today at bettingpros.com/juice. That's bettingpros.com/juice. Our colleague Michael Mayer in there every single day on the NoVig. So if you want to know more about him, on NoVig, go and hit him up on the Discord right now. But again, check out NoVig today, bettingpros.com/juice. Use that promo code DailyJuice when you sign up for 50% off your first coin purchase up to $25. All right, Houston Texans win total. Terrell, we got 5.5, 7.5, 9.5 on the board. I got to say, when you look at this division and how weak it is, I think it's, the definitely over 7.5. That's easy. The 9.5 is the question. Can they get over that? Can they be a 10-win team? I think they can. At plus money at 9.5. I'll take a 10-7 Houston Texans team to win this division. I think that's all they need to do. What do you think, Terrell?
I think the same thing. And it's a lot better because towards the end of the season, they have little bit more of a cupcake schedule. A bunch of those home games are against teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. So I think that it actually breaks well for them to kind of, hey, they may have their hiccups in the middle of the season, but once they kind of get that continuity in the offensive line figured out, and I know the defense is going to play well, I trust the defense, that they'll be able to rack off some wins in the end of the season. So yes, I think they finish at 10 wins. I like the over for the Texans.
because it's a bottom feeder division and it does seem very simple, I don't want to take things for granted. At the same time, Erickson, I think you smashed this. I think you smashed the 9.5 between playing the teams in their own division and some of the other games where, they play the Kansas City Chiefs again. They played them tough last year. This team shows up in big moments. They showed up in big moments against the Chargers where everybody was just writing them off and they kicked their ass. So I'm very impressed. Again, with the head coach as always there. I like them for the over 9.5. I think 10 is the number, and I feel comfortable plus money. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, let's make it a clean sweep. Over 9.5. They've won 10 games the last 2 seasons, despite 2023. It was the offensive line injuries last year. It was the receiver injuries all over the place. So, yeah, even if the defense maybe isn't top 5, I just think with better injury luck on the offensive side of the football, that the combination with C.J. Stroud entering year 3, DeMeco Ryans, I think, has shown that he's a top 10 NFL head coach, and he's getting the most out of his players. He's having them surpass expectations despite adversities when it comes to injuries, and he's putting his players in positions to succeed. So, I like the Texans.
All right, the next one's the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to like the under on the 7.5 here at plus 100. Excuse me, the under 7.5 at minus 120. The over is plus 100 for the Indianapolis Colts win total. I like the under minus 120, 7.5. The reason is they're going to play the NFC West this year too, so they got the Rams in there. The Colts have to play the Denver Broncos. Looking at this sheet here, Kansas City Chiefs. San Francisco 49ers. I think the Arizona Cardinals are capable of beating them. So really, even if they struggle in the slightest against this division, I mean, it's going to be a long season for the Colts. So I think 7 wins is about where you get. I think that's the high point for them. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm taking the under here. I don't think that either Terrell or I voiced a lot of confidence that you got to slam the over on the Indianapolis Colts. I just can't do it with the variance that these two quarterbacks play with. On any given down, it could be a touchdown for their team or a touchdown for the other team. Any given play, and that's just not something that I want to be betting on. Again, and talking about investments, and I think just with the Colts last year, and something that I remember writing the primer every single week when it came to the Colts, they played a lot of close games. All of their wins last year, of their 8 wins, came in 1-score games, and so they were 8-5 overall in 1-score contests. So if that flips, and now they're losing more of these 1-score games because they don't blow teams out, right? You're going down to the 4th quarter and the Colts are, all right, maybe we can sneak out a win here. That's not a winning strategy. Unless you're the Chiefs, of course. But for the Indianapolis Colts, I just don't think that's going to work out for them. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with the under as well.
Well, there's also no value in going over. It's not like they're giving you, it's plus 300 for them to go over 7.5 wins. There's no value where it's okay, you want to roll the dice that Richardson figures it out, or Daniel Jones in a different spot, maybe he learned some things watching Kevin O'Connell run an offense, and picked up some little tricks of the trade in Minnesota. There's no value on it, Terrell. So I'm just going to keep this simple. I'm going to just shade the under 7.5 at minus 115 with that schedule.
Yeah, none of these teams really give any confidence that, hey, the Colts can 100% go win that game. Even a game against the Raiders, no, I don't think they feel really good about beating the Raiders. The Cardinals, no. Both of those games are at home. I don't see a situation where I'm just oh, yeah, I think the Colts are really, really good in that situation. It doesn't matter if Richardson or Jones is at quarterback. They did not figure out the defense last year, and we'll see if they make strides to be better this year. But they were giving up a whole bunch of points. They were turning the ball over crazy. They were putting the defense in bad situations. I just don't think any of those root problems for the Colts are going to change. This is an under ladder. You don't just take the under on the win total. You take it as far as you can get, and then you just free roll the rest of the season and see how many wins they get.
Well, you get the under 5.5 at plus 250 on the Colts. The under 3.5 wins at plus 700, which again I don't think they're gonna be that bad. But the under 5.5 at plus 250.
Never know.
Maybe you throw a unit on there just for S's and G's. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The numbers are 3.5, 5.5, 7.5. This is another one to me too, where you look at the opening of this season. Terrell, they play the Carolina Panthers, who I don't think are a pushover. I really don't. Then the Bengals, the Texans, the 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs. They play Seattle, and then they play the Rams. So there could possibly be one win here. I'm just saying. It could be one win before they get to the bye in week 8. That's going to be unbelievably hard to dig yourself out from under that. So again, 7.5 is the total here. I'm going to go under minus 115. That's where I'm going. And The Colts was at -20. Look, you're paying a little bit of juice, but it just feels a safe thing to me. Jacksonville Jaguars, Terrell, where is the win total for you?
You don't make money betting overs in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, that doesn't happen. Well,
Unless
don't
it's
make
coaches
money like
in
that.
a season, in which case,
Yeah, then you probably got, or maybe an over on interceptions prop, like maybe something like that. But no, you don't bet over in the win total in the Jags and try to make money here. We're not going to break the wheel. The Jags have not taken enough strides, and as good as Travis Hunter is, I think that there's a lot of more issues that are wrong with the Jazz, and that's probably not Jazz. I'm in the basketball realm with the Jags. However, yeah, there's problems with the Jazz too, by the way. But, however, I'm sitting here saying all this, say Travis Hunter is a talent. It just doesn't feel like he's what they needed, because now you're just overstimulated with offense, defense, and you might break your shiny new toy. Like, I just don't know. I don't think he was the toy that needed to go to the Jags. Jags under for me.
Erickson, I know the schedule gets a little easier for the Jaguars, but when you're talking about a rookie head coach with a schedule that lines up like that in the first 7 weeks, I think that's a bad combination. And one loss can learn into another loss that rolls into another loss. And next thing you know, things getting ugly in Jacksonville already off the gate. And I don't want to be pessimistic here. It just feels like same old Jags to me.
Well, I think that you're laying out the case for people to wait on betting on the Jaguars, betting on maybe a second half surge where their win total gets beaten down because they're losing all these games to start the year. So when I did my projections, I had them going over at 8 wins. So, but that's also saying I'm not super confident that, though, this is an easy over. So I agree with the things that you guys have outlined. Defense, I think, is still really suspect, and that their defense was relatively healthy last year, and it was still really, really bad. So, yeah, the offense maybe can take a step forward, but does that make up for the defense? The offensive line still isn't it's not elite by any means. It's still probably a below average unit. So, yeah, given the schedule to open the year, I agree with you guys. I think that I'm going to have to make some adjustments.
And I don't know if I'm sold. I think what you're saying is really logically sound, but I don't know if I'm sold on it because the opening of the schedule, 2 of the first 7 games are on the road. Then 6 of the next 10 are on the road. So, like, they're playing at home a ton to start the year. Only 2 of those games are road games. And then after that, they're away a lot. And the home games are tough. It's against the Chargers. It's going to be against the Jets, who I don't think are going to be a pushover there. Then they finish up eventually with the Titans there. They have the Titans twice in the schedule. But I don't know, man. Like I said, it just seems like the same old Jags to me. And, it's good that they're starting out at home, but if you start losing games at home, I don't know if all of a sudden the Jaguars become road warriors at some point. The Tennessee Titans, the numbers for them, 2.5, 3.5, 5.5. Under 5.5 wins at plus money? Yes, please. I would like to take that one, please. Plus 110. Thank you very much. See ya. That's it. That's easy. I'm going to walk away from this one a winner. Andrew Erickson, how about you?
Yeah, I will bet on the Texans as the team that's going to win games and probably fade most of the other ones, except for maybe a long shot division bet, as we'll get into.
Okay, now if you want to go into the 3.5, Terrell, you're getting plus 360. That's very enticing if you think that they're a bottom feeder team, which they very well might be. I think the Saints are in that discussion. The Titans are going to be in that discussion again. So are you feeling lucky, or you want to play it safe when it comes to the Titans in 2025?
Give me the over 5.5 wins, actually.
Oh, yeah. Really?
I mean, I'm not asking
for the Titans.
I'm not asking for 10 wins here. I need
for
6 wins. Yes, and if you look at their last 6 games, they have games against the Jags twice, the Saints, and the Browns. I feel pretty all right about that, in that sweet spot of where I think that Cam Ward is going to be developed as a quarterback. I think it's going to be really ugly for them early on, but then as he starts going, he's going to start developing better. Maybe the defense is playing better. Maybe he's not turning the ball over and giving the other team the ball inside the 20. Like, I think that that's going to be a lot better for them. So Tennessee, maybe it's a slow burn. Maybe this is something that I wait and place actually live, where I can get a 3.5 win total or something like that. But 5.5 wins, I actually do think they'll be a 6-win team. A 6-win team is still bad.
Yeah, they are still bad, but I'm over 5.5 wins at minus 130. No, thank you. I'll take the plus money at 5.5. I'll take the temptation. I don't think the Titans have changed their stripes that much in 1 year. Although they might cover more games, winning that's a different story. Let's take a look at the winner of this division here, the Houston Texans, still plus money right now, plus 110. The Jags at plus 300, Colts at 310, and the Tennessee Titans at plus 750. Should we all just say it together at the same time? 1, 2, 3. The Texans. Andrew. Okay, you're a little late there, Andrew.
Well, because you didn't even try.
No, because this is the same value you're getting for the Texans to win over 9.5 games, right? It's exact same odds.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is...
10 games, win the division. Boom. Done.
Exactly, but you can bet them to win the win total, and then you can take a long shot on the Tennessee Titans at plus 750. I think that this is a good value for this type of team. Again, we talk about this is the worst division in football. So why can't a rookie quarterback go from worst to first? We see this every year, except for last year. So there are 4 teams that I think that fit into this category. It's the Titans, Patriots, 49ers, and Bears. You guys were not with me with the Bears, so we know that's not a count. You guys think the Patriots can unseat the Bills?
I don't want to tease an early show that we haven't done already, but
I think the Patriots are going to be much better.
Either.
Okay.
Unseating the Bills, I think, is tough, especially because the Bills don't have a tough schedule this year.
Okay. So then it's the 49ers, who I think are already favored to win their division. So I guess maybe that's the layup. But if there's a surprise team, like why not the Titans to win the division? And they tie with the Texans, but they both win 10 games because Cam Ward is the prince that was promised. So I think plus 750, I think that this is the value.
Cool story, bro.
Great,
I'm not buying it.
Reference.
I'm returning that story right back to the library. I'm not even going inside the library. I'm putting it in the drop outside. You know, I'm just opening the handle, even this summer when it's hot. And you put your hand on that silver handle and it's like 1,000 degrees, and I'm putting that book back in. That's what I'm doing. But it's a fun story. It was a good story. I enjoyed it. I mean,
one of these teams is going to finish in first. That finished last. You guys are laughing at me for every single one.
No.
What's going to happen?
I get you. No, I get you right.
Look, the problem with the
Titans was it's a good pick. I think the Titans is a good pick in terms of because I'm the same way with you. I think Cam Ward by the end of the season is probably going to go on a run. And if you're telling me that there's a world of possibility where some 8 and 9 team won this division, I wouldn't be surprised.
It also takes one blown block on the Texans' worst offensive line, and C.J. Stroud can miss a bunch of games. And then this division's up for grabs. So
that's true. But you could say that about the Buffalo Bills, too.
Right, but you're not getting but that's why the Titans are the best value, because it's plus 750. Like, most of the other teams are not anywhere near this long. I mean, you want to bet...
Erickson kind of sold me.
Let's go!
Oh, if you're going to sell me on a team figuring it out, it's going to be the team that's got a pretty good offensive line and a team with a quarterback that is a freak of nature athletically figuring it out. Like, if Anthony Richardson figures it out,
so you want to take the Colts over the Titans?
I'm saying I'm taking the Colts over the Titans. If my hand was forced to the raging hot silver of the book deposit drop, if I had to pick somebody, I'll pick the Colts as the long shot here over the Titans.
Okay.
Because Richardson's a guy that Richardson's a problem. You know, a guy who can flick the ball down the field 75 yards, and a guy that is that big, that strong, that fast. If the raw tools ever get figured out, that's the problem in this division. It's not a rookie Cam Ward, slowly slugging away. And Shane Steichen's a very good football coach, much better than Callahan. So, go back to the Patriots, too. The Bills' schedule is not only easier, but even when they have the tough games, all the tough games are in their building, which I think is a huge advantage for Buffalo. So I just wanted to point that out in terms of their schedule.
It's tough to envision the Patriots, unless Josh Allen misses games or something like that. It's really hard, even if you like the Patriots. But I will say, though, on the Titans, wait to bet on them after week 1 because they're playing at Denver and they're probably going to get killed. So you got to delay all the Titans bets till after week 1.
How'd you like to play that defense week 1 as a rookie?
It's going to be the C.J. Stroud Baltimore Ravens where he played in Baltimore as a rookie in his first game, and he didn't look terrible, but the scoreboard said otherwise.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some of our favorite bets for this division. Some wild cards we're going to throw in here. I'm keeping it a little simple here. I do have a special, though. Brian Thomas, regular season total receiving yards. I'm taking the over 1150.5 at minus 114. This is such a gimme. I can't, again, I don't understand this is where my mind doesn't compute very well. Did we not watch what Brian Thomas did last year? Just because Travis Hunter's there does not mean that Brian Thomas can't repeat basically what he did last season, if not exceed it in his second season. So, especially with Liam Cohn there offensively, just tweaking things a little bit, I think this is a smash over. I think he gets a 1,300 this year, so this is not close for me. And then a FanDuel special here. The Titans to win more than 5.5 games and the Patriots to win more than 7.5 games at plus 195. Now, this is interesting because if you can get the Titans to 6, I'm very confident the Patriots are going to go well over
Wait.
7.5.
Don't the Patriots play the Titans?
Yo, did we
They
just
do.
get at me for having a Titans win total over?
I did, but if I'm going to do the Titans win total, I'm not taking minus money. I'm going to pair it with something else to get me to plus money that I think is a lock, which is a Patriots at least 8 wins. So 7.5 on the Patriots, and then 5.5. Can you get the 6? Maybe. I don't think it's the greatest bet, but if I'm going to bet the Titans, I'm going to do it responsibly by getting into plus money and not taking that minus that Terrell wants. He wants you to take.
I'm
He
taking
wants
the
you
over
to
on
take
the
that
Titans.
minus.
Parlaying it.
You want me
I'm
to?
changing my
Well,
mind.
but I'm parlaying it with something that is, I think, a lock. So there you go. So no minus 130 for me on the Titans 6 wins. If I'm going to take the Titans 6 wins, I'm going to take it along with the Patriots 7.5 over. So let's turn it over to you, Terrell. What are your special bets here when you're looking at the 2025 AFC South Division?
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and add another one to the card just to see the steam come out of your ears. Give me a small 0.2 sprinkle on the Titans to win the division here.
All right.
Thank you, Erickson. All right. Yeah, Erickson and I are holding hands on the Texans as well. I would really just want to make this bet because if the Texans don't get the 10 wins in this division, I would just like to say, wow, the Texans are just going to be able to Texan. Like, it doesn't matter. But this is a bad division. You should be able to get the 10 wins.
All right.
Colts under, and just go ahead and take it
Just
wherever
keep-
they
wow,
let
you
you.
just pound the Colts.
Wherever,
Fair enough.
wherever you take the under win total ladder, go all the way down plus 700, 3.5, and have a day. Just have a day, because I'm telling you, that's the only thing that's going to make you interested in watching Colts football for the entirety of the season is having an under on the win total ladder.
I don't think D'Amico Ryans allows that team to fall below 10 wins. They're a double-digit win team, I think, with that defense. I really do. And Stroud is a good leader, good quarterback. Hopefully you can figure out the offensive line. You can get them to work well as a unit, even if you don't have the talent to do it. All right, Erickson, take us through your favorite AFC South wagers for the year.
Yep, going to go with the Texans over 9.5 wins at plus 110, sprinkling the Titans to win the division at plus 750. And I think that I've been convinced I like their over on their win total too. So I'm going to go over on Titans 5.5 wins. And then for my fun bet that I teased earlier when it comes to Travis Hunter, because I can't make up my mind when it comes to win losses with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter 12-1 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And my rationale behind it is we still don't know what he's going to be doing. I know that the recent reports are that they're putting him more on offense because they feel more comfortable with him at defense. So I'm zooming out a little bit, and I think that his deployment is going to be game plan specific, I think, and dependent on who else is available for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. So I mentioned earlier that the Jaguars defense last year was the fifth healthiest in the NFL in terms of adjusted games lost. So if they have more defensive injuries, what are they going to do? Oh, we're going to have to play Travis Hunter more on defense. And when you look at their secondary last year, again, allowed the most passing yards in the NFL last year. So if they improve on defense, you know who's going to get a lot of credit for that? Mr. Travis Hunter, number 2 overall pick. And when you look at what that defense did last year in terms of just giving up the yardage, so they had just six interceptions last season. That was third lowest interception rate, despite ranking 11th in passes defended. And they were one of 2 teams, the other being the Patriots, to have at least 72 passes defended without getting double-digit interceptions. They also ranked 30th in opponent fumbles. This is my long way of saying the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is going to generate a lot more turnovers just based on the numbers. And who would be my bet to cash in a lot of those turnovers? It would be Travis Hunter, the ball hawk who can also play wide receiver, who is also playing defensive back. Because that's how you have to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. You have to generate counting stats like interceptions, like pick sixes. So that's kind of my sell for Travis Hunter. I think that he's going to make big plays on defense. He's going to get credit for the defensive improvements in Jacksonville. And whatever else he does on offense is just going to be cake, or it's going to be, layered onto the analysis of the voters' minds of, oh, he's doing this on defense and he's also playing offense. I think voters are going to try to find a way to vote for Travis Hunter in any way they can. I think it's going to end up being on the defensive side, not necessarily offense.
All right, there you have it, everybody. That's our take on the AFC South. What's yours? Who's going to win this division? Tell us. Drop your comments below. Who wins the South? And don't forget to subscribe to BettingPros YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 100,000 this season. We could do it with your help. Ring that bell till it goes ding too, so you never miss a piece of content on the channel all season long. NFL, Take a deep breath. You can smell it, baby. It is coming quickly. We're going to be right in the thick of it before you know it. We're going to help you win a ton of money this year. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Terrell Furman Jr., for The Undertaker, Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.